You can reach NAMI at NAMI Syracuse at NAMISyracuse.org or call us at 315-487-2085.
And NAMI National is really doing a lot of stuff now where they didn't do before. A lot of chapters are doing more activity. And so, here we are. And I'm positive, I'm pleased with being involved in it. And as I said, I've been going at it for almost 30 years.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
There's hope, Jim.
There is. It's great. And hope is such an incredible medicine.
Very much so.
I like to laugh, and that rejuvenates me on a regular basis. I know mental illness, like with the depression, that zaps you. Oh my gosh, of joy, the feelings of you feel so alone, isolated, worthless, and then there's things like insomnia that come up. I've dealt with that over the years, and as a father of a son with mental illness, that is the compassion for your son, the things that you felt for your son when you were first learning. You shared some of this, but I want you to speak to the fathers that have children that they're trying to figure out what's going on. And yes, mental illness, you can Google it and find out different things, but when your child is initially experiencing something, even children, and where the parent is trying to figure out what's happening, I want you to address that a little bit deeper. You've already mentioned some of it, but go deeper into what that parent should be doing.
Well, be aware of what your child is doing, because today they're reaching for chemicals, they're reaching for drugs, they're reaching for whatever to make them feel better, and not understanding totally what is going on within themselves. They get this feeling of depression or feeling of anxiety or whatever. So they'll tend to go to, speaking for my own son, they tend to pot or alcohol or whatever. Well, I felt pretty good, but then all of a sudden they crash.
Right.
And what happened with him was the more he took, the better he felt. Well, then all of a sudden he would crash. And now you're falling deeper into a depression and whatnot. And you're just up and down. And as a parent, you're looking at this and go, my God, what are we doing? What's happening here? And we had no idea even where to go. There was no source out there for us to go to get help for us. Because when you're going through it yourself, you got to be healthy and you got to try to stay healthy, but also try to understand what's happening. And with NAMI, we were able to connect with him and find out exactly what we're going through with him. And that helped us to gain more experience and knowledge to get him the right help. And that, as you know, that's a big yo-yo effect. He was in, Chris was in, my son Chris was in and out of hospital for 7.5 years. Until all of a sudden the light bulb came on in his head and said, I don't want to do this anymore. And he learned at that point, I got to do something different with my life. And so far, so good. As I said, he's been hospital free now for 22 years, 23 years. And I think as parents with NAMI, more and more people that we're with, they get a better feel of what is happening. And hopefully with we've been 40 years with NAMI, NAMI Syracuse now. And now they understand some of the things that we're doing to help them. And that's what we're here for. We're not here for the consumer. We're here for the family, because they're the ones that are on the firing line trying to figure out what to do and where to go. But there is help out there. And that's the message we try to give.
Right.
And the message I got, and I think it was to go back to the beginning, was we are not alone. And there are other people out there going through the same things we go through. And that's the message I try to give to people.
Yes, the we are not alone is so key, because when you are isolated, your weakness seems to go way up.
Very much so.
And the isolation is detrimental. And so with parents that get the ammunition of the knowledge that's brought through NAMI and through other types of things, speak to support groups. Did your son engage in a support group?
No, not really. He wouldn't. He was pretty independent. Just like music was a big thing for him, and art. He was very good in music and art, but he wouldn't play in front of people. He was more of a closet artist and a closet musician. But that's just who he was. And but he tried. He did speak with some people. But I remember him one day saying, at Hutchings, when he was at Hutchings, they said, you're an alcoholic. And my son would say, no, I'm not. He said, I'm a potaholic. I do pot. Yeah, that's what he said. And he told us that. I'm going, really? But he wasn't comfortable talking in front of groups. I think it was more of an embarrassment, maybe, that he was different. But after 7 years, he said, that's it. I'm doing my thing, and that's it.
So you understood there was a turning point for him. Was it, he talked to you and your wife, saying that I've had enough of, it wasn't just like, I can turn the depression off.
No.
But it doesn't work that way. But what did you understand when he made the switch?
He was getting healthier, and he was able to deal with it. Many times they don't want to even accept the fact that they have an issue.
Okay, right.
Health issue, mental issue. And I think he finally realizes it. He says, okay, I know what I got to do to stay healthy.
Okay.
That's his way of dealing with it.
All right.
And he's very compliant about taking his medications. In fact, when he comes for dinner, he's got to bring his med with him so he can say, I got to take my medicine.
I see.
I said, okay.
Right. So he was proving to you that he meant business with the mental illness. And
this was his way of showing it. He didn't come right out and say it. Okay, that's it. No more. I do have mental illness. He didn't want to talk about that.
But was it like a sense of relief for you when you
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you're on pins and needles.
Mhm.
Well, you know, when you have somebody in your family that is collapsing, they have nowhere to go, they're paranoid or whatever. You're on your edge all the time, trying not to say the wrong things,
Okay.
try to help them,
Mhm.
you know, and when you don't know where to go or how to go or what, because you basically the first thing people will say, you got to take your medicine. Well, we all know there are certain medications you out there, you're not going to feel good. They're
Right.
not going to make you feel better and whatnot.
Immediately is, yeah.
So we went through all that, but
Yeah.
it's, you know, it's like anything else. You go through it, whatever works and whatever. But yeah, so here we are. Here I am, and so I wanted. I'm going to retire from NAMI, and I said no. I got to stay and help where I can help. So
Good
understand, Jim, you're
Good.
not going to be able to leave this place.
I'm so glad you made that decision. Yeah.
Yeah, we're pleased. I'm pleased with it, and we got to do what we can do to help, and you know, do it for NAMI, you know, and I think there's a lot more work to be done.
When we see portrayals and they either are made fun of or they're portrayed in a violent fashion or something like that, we know that that's not really true for the majority of people that have a mental health issue.
Right.
And how do you think mental illness can be more of a daily conversation? You have your experience in how you've communicated through NAMI. When, let's see, where do you hear about people suffering from mental illness? What are some of the sources other than sitcoms and things like that?
Well, we see somebody who got arrested.
Okay, right.
Okay, you see a lot of that, or you know, or somebody makes a comment, he had a mental illness. You know, that negative tone, and people still think of that. Well, he got arrested, so therefore he's got a mental illness. And I don't think that's the way. The police departments are getting better, my understanding, at helping people through that. There are some that are, you know, they're not doing their job or doing what they should be doing. But I think that's getting better. I think over time, all the years that I've been involved in, I think it's gotten much better. We just need to get out there more and get our message out more to people, knowing that, you know, this is an illness and this is what we can do to help. And I think the hospitals are trying to do that in some cases. Media is, as you know, with media, everything is so quick. I mean, immediately to say, this guy went nuts and he started doing this and that, and, you know, and that creates, I think, an issue out there, or stigma issue that we should try to do better with. I don't know what else, you know, you live it, you breathe it, you do what you got to do to try to make things better. You know, and I think the media is trying to get better, and media, I think, is a big issue, big place that people get their news from. But you know, the hospitals they're packed with it, but now with this pandemic, and now mental illness now is kicking in even more with this pandemic, because people are getting very depressed, very anxious, they're very whatever. And I think our role is to keep positive and try to connect with more families and people and try to help them whatever we can do.
That's a good point. Yeah, all the connections are all the more necessary. I run a peer-to-peer group through NAMI, and the group called This Mine of Mine run once a month, every third Wednesday. And so people will actually come to our website looking for some type of support. And so we have several support groups listed on the website. And there's a way for them to register for the group. And then I contact them through email and then send them reminders with the Zoom link. And so those those meetings are dynamic. It amazes me how there is a camaraderie, isn't the right word, but there is a unique bond between people that have experienced mental illness themselves or their family members of those that have, because you find the commonality and all of a sudden hope comes up, as you had mentioned. And people, I was running a group last night and many didn't know each other, but they suddenly became vulnerable to the point of sharing the depths of what they were going through. And in the group, I always encourage everyone to share what they're overcoming to encourage another person.
That's great.
Yeah, the medicine of hope. Yeah, I'd like to turn that into an acronym.
But don't you think, though, is once they're communicating with each other, they're realizing that they're not alone?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that yes, you have your issues, this one has his own issues, but commonality is that we're not alone. And what can we do to go forward and bring that out into the community or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've learned a lot over the years. And I try to do better. I try to do everything I can, but you know, you can only do so much. But I think you're smart in doing what you're doing. You're helping people. You're doing a great job of that job.
Oh, thank you very much. That's very kind of you to say that.
Well, it's not easy, but you know, it's the hope you give to people. That's the important thing.
There is, what I've learned is through the journey of recovery that you develop emotional muscles that you didn't have before. One of them is called compassion.
Yep.
And it's amazing. You never would have gained that wonderful gift of compassion without suffering through something. And the suffering is a difficult journey, but on the other side of it, you're able to help people in a tremendous way. And of course, it comes back to you too. You feel that yourself. You've gone through different levels of suffering with your son. And now on the other side of it, you're just enjoying presenting the hope, presenting the idea that recovery is so possible. And in the idea of recovery for your son, he's gone through tremendous recovery. Now, would you say as a parent, there is a kind of recovery as well?